Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, Fish Den 365. Glad to have you here. The weather is cold outside. We got some snow on the ground. It's bitter out. I'm out here in the boathouse, tackle shop, and it is cold. I have to run the heater here just to be here and do this video. So I apologize if there's a little background noise, but I got the heater right next to me here keeping me warm. So today I wanted to talk to you about a little crankbait that is my favorite crankbait. Unfortunately, I don't think you can get this anymore, but maybe some of you can help me with that. And some time ago, years ago, there was a local tackle dealer. I forget which one it was, but one of their slogans was that fish don't care what you paid. And boy, that is really true when it comes to this lure, because this bait was a crankbait that you can get from Jan's Netcraft. And this is it here. It was called the PC200, and it's just this little tiny crankbait. Let's see how long it is, not including the bill. It looks like it's 2.5 inches long, so it's just this little crankbait. It's got a nice shape to it though, and it comes in a couple of different colors. These are two of the original colors. It's a good crawfish pattern here and a really good alewife pattern there. I have a buddy of mine who custom painted these two for me. A gentleman by the name of Alan Carl, really good with an airbrush. Painted a real nice alewife pattern and a bluegill or a green sunfish pattern on this one. And so I got 4 left. I used to have quite a bit more, but I've lost them over the years to pickerel and to other fish. Chain pickerel love these things. Everything likes these things though. The first time I became aware of this bait, I was at a fishing flea market in Klecknersville, and I got talking to a guy there about smallmouth bass fishing and which baits we like to use for smallmouths. And he tells me about this little crankbait and Jan's Netcraft called a PC200. And this is going back, geez, 20 years ago, maybe more. And I thought, boy, and he was just talking about it, and I could see the excitement in his eyes and in his voice that everything he was telling me about this bait he meant. He said it just had a different kind of action to it, a different kind of sound. Does have a little rattle in there. Kind of sounds like a lipless crankbait, the way it sounds, but a lower pitch. And he mentioned that too. He thought that was one of the keys, but I think the real key is how it works. Because when this thing goes through the water, if you're reeling it towards you, it goes this way, then it goes this way. It hunts. It goes off to the side, but comes back to center. Off to the side, back to center. And they all fish just a little differently, but they all have a great action. They all have that hunting action. A couple of them, I had, if I reeled it too fast, it would actually come up, around, and do it, and come back and go right into position. And you'd think, oh, no, that's not going to catch any fish. And when it's doing that, it actually goes all the way around and does a complete loop this way and back. But I've caught fish when it did that. They thought it was a hurt bait fish. And some of the hits I've had on this crankbait are some of the most bone-jarring slams I've ever had. The first time I bought the bait after he told me about it, I tested it out, and I thought, I really didn't think that much of it. I didn't know what to think of it. It went down, it goes down 6 to 8 feet depending on the line diameter, depending on your pound test leader or fishing line, depending how you fish. 6 to 8 feet, so that's kind of nice. You can throw this along the bank and then have it go down the bank on a lot of different bank configurations, and that's how I first fished it. My first time fishing it was in the fall. It was in early October. I remember this. I was at Lake Wallenpaupack, and I had a really nice, fun day throwing this color, catching smallmouths. You know, a bunch of 2.5, 3 pound smallmouth. They were just crushing it. They really liked the bait. And I've had other days since then where I caught smallmouth, pickerel, perch. A couple years ago, I was throwing this exact same color, and I got into a bunch of largemouths, same lake, Wallenpaupack, and they were crunching the bait. So the largemouths like it too. It catches everything, and part of that reasoning for that is just how the bait works. It just has a really unique action and sound to it. Now it's a light bait, so you know you need to use some lighter gear. I used to use a light bait casting rod because I just preferred that, but you can throw it better on a spinning rod. But today, now with the addition of BFS, well, that's how I fish it now. I throw it on a bait finesse casting rod. I can throw it very far with good control and good accuracy, and I just like to bring it in that way. Now, I even tried to contact Jan's, geez, probably 15. Like, he almost made it sound like they didn't have the rights to make the bait anymore, which made me wonder if someone else was. But I don't think anyone else is, but now that all this time has passed, tomorrow, it's evening time now, but tomorrow I'm going to call them and see if I can get them to tell me a little bit more about the history of this bait, and can they make it anymore? Do they have them? Who did they get it from? Or usually Jan's gets these baits from other sources, and I'm like, boy, if I can find that source and this bait's still available, I'd love to buy more. Like I said, I only have 4, and that won't last forever if I fish them a lot, and I really do like fishing these, especially in spring and fall. It's a really good time to fish this bait. And I've caught them in multiple environments. I caught them in other lakes. I'm sure this thing can do well in rivers and river applications. It's just a dynamite little bait. And the best thing about it was from Jan's, you'd order this. It would come without the hooks or split rings. You had to put your own on. But you'd get 5 for a couple of bucks, 5 at a shot for, not much money at all. And, for something like that, like you think of it as a no frills type of bait, right? But boy, it sure does catch fish, and I was surprised overall how repeatable the bait is. That's one thing that I always am curious about, with the lures I get. That's one of the quality components. How repeatable are these baits? In other words, do they all work the same way? Are they all weighted the same way? Do they have the same action in the water? Do they behave the same way? And for the most part, they do. I lost that one that I caught all those smallmouths on that I told you about. It was one just like this, but I've caught a lot on this one as well. So, great little bait here, the old Jan's Netcraft PC200. I'd love to know if you fished this bait. Please comment, or if you know anything about the bait, or if you know where I can get this bait. It's a plastic bait. The PC200, there are other baits that look like it, but I can tell you, I've tried them, and they don't fish like this one does. They don't have that sound, and they don't have that same hunting action, that crazy hunting action that this one does. And that's what I think is the big trigger for this particular bait. Well, that's it for today's episode. I hope you liked it. If you know anything about this bait, the PC200 from Jan's Netcraft, please comment and let me know, or you can email me as well. It's always a pleasure making these videos. I thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like, subscribe to the channel. We'll be coming out with another video soon. So until next time, stay warm, and may God bless your fishing endeavors.